The long, piercing shriek cut right through concrete, glass, stone, buffers, and skulls. Most of the on-duty rifters instinctively hit the ground. One or two ended up with nosebleeds, and one, Legs Martell, absolutely sober for once, going through containment, passed out and almost drowned in the showers. A couple of scientists got a headache, but whether it was from the noise or the rest of the afternoon, nobody could say. The wedge-shaped Lev should have come over the border and inched slowly to a graceful halt right inside the white detox lines, hovering at the regulation 3 feet above pavement. It should have then been dusted with chemicals, newt slime, and high UV to make sure any rift radiation or poisonous goo was neutralized. Instead, it zagged drunkenly over the blur, spewing multicolored flame and spinning as 2 live undercells tried to cope with 1 gyro melted and the 3rd cell pouring toxic smoke. The dumb fucks on tower duty even unloaded their rifles at it, probably thinking it was the return, the aliens who left the rift bubbles all over the surface, deciding to revisit and pick up their dropped toys, with the tower guards first in line to be grabbed for experimentation or whatever. The terrified fusillade popped the Lev's canopy and gave the fire inside a breath of fresh air. The resultant explosion shattered every window facing the containment bay. Klaxons were added to alarms and recorded exhortations to wash twice, dust down, wash again. Someone got the yahoos in the towers to quit shooting, but by then it was too late. Any evidence of what had happened inside the blur wall was well and truly shot to shit and burned for good measure. Wreckage that had once been a good solid piece of anti-grav equipment drifted on its 2 remaining cells, turning in majestic, lazy circles and burning merrily. The emergency response team had been playing 3 high instead of suiting up as soon as something rippled in the blur, and the watching rifters hit the alert. So it took them a good 10 minutes to get their lazy asses out there. They foamed the whole thing, and someone got the bright idea of setting out a triangle of dampers. When they were switched on, their flat surfaces coruscating with peculiar static popping blue stutterlight, the Lev thudded down, cracking concrete. It was too heavy, as if it had dragged a squeezer. What the scientists called a localized gravitational anomaly, isn't that a mouthful, out on its back. There are squeezers and shimmers, and the pointy-headed wonders call them the same damn thing, when any idiot could guess you'd need to know which was too much and which was too little. Didn't matter. They kill you just the same. Except there are stories of a rifter surviving a shimmer. You never know. Anyway, once the foam dripped away, the entire warped chassis of the Lev was there, and 3 shapes glimmered through the smoke. One of them had to be Bosch from the physics department, because one of that corpse's legs was 2.5 inches shorter than the other. Another one's pelvis was horribly mangled, but it could have been a woman's. The obvious conclusion was that it was Ashe and the 2 scientists, with their accompanying Sardies, who would have been in the secondary, much smaller Lev, dead somewhere in QR 715. The gleaming inside the shattered Lev was skeletons, turned into some sort of alloy. It took 2 weeks of patient work by teams in mag suits to free them from the tangle, and they were carted away to the depths of the Institute. Someone did a hush-hush paper on them. The bones were alloy, where the ligaments were all high-carbon flecks with an odd crystalline pattern all over. That was the heaviness. The alloy was impervious to diamond or laseric, and incredibly dense. Whatever had crushed the pelvis of the 3rd skeleton had to have been massive, unless it had been done before the transformation. By then, though, the rifters had already held a wake at the tumbledown. Anyone who wasn't a rifter got thrown out after the first round, and the next morning saw not a few still unconscious freaks on the tables or under them, and even more reeling home. Sabby the Puka got carted to the butcher block for alcohol poisoning. Might as well have medicated him for grief, too, since he and Cabra had been running with the rat ever since she rolled into town. There was nothing to bury. Science had eaten the bodies, and besides, it's what she would have wanted. That's how Ashe Rajnik, Ashe the Rat, who held herself to be the best rifter in the world and was certainly one of the luckiest, died. After that, the higher-ups sent a commission. They discharged all the on-duty rifters, and more orders came down. Nothing went into the rift. Anything that came out was to be shot and contained.